tell you what, I need to step out more often because when I stepped out, I brought in Anna Johnson and Barbara, and so just keep stepping out. Thank you, Father Dean, for last week's service. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you very much. Well, you know, I was talking to a friend that does a lot of traveling the other day, and he was telling me a story that happened to him. He said, the other day I got up and I was ready to head home, and I thought I was going to get breakfast in this town that I had visited to see this corporation. So I was driving by looking for a restaurant, trying to get the local flair instead of the McDonald's and other things, and saw this sign that said, unique breakfast. So I went in there and he was excited, he wanted to have something new. And he goes in and sits down, and the waitress comes and says, what do you have, sir? And look at that. I'm sorry, you won't get the joke here, but I guess I've gotten southern now. What do you have? What do you have? Anyway, she asked him, well, what will you have, sir? And he said, what's your unique breakfast? Tell me about that. And she goes, it's fried chicken tongue. It's really good. A lot of people like it. And he said, fried chicken tongue? Fried chicken tongue? What are you talking about? That just sounds gross to me. I don't want that at all. I'll never eat anything out of a chicken's mouth. And so she said, unperturbed, because she's had that response before, I guess. She said, well, what do you have, sir? And he said, I'll have some scrambled eggs. Okay, let me start that over. I'll never eat any... Okay. Well, where's Johnny Carson when you need him? That does it. She said he's made his transition. He must have given me his jokes. No, it's all awesome when that happens. That really tells you how old you are when you say Johnny Carson when the guy after he's already retired. And, thanks, Doc. That's 7 what? Yeah, I want to say that here in a second. And then another thing, just real quick on age, is I don't know who. Obviously, it's some younger people that said this, and I might have told you before, but all you do to have to tell how old somebody is to ask them what time it is and see their response. Because I looked at my watch, and that tells you they're a certain age. Most younger people will look at their phone to find out what time it is. So anyway, let's say our statements of truth together, please. I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now. So today's title of the lesson is Lost at Home. And I have a question to lead off with that, and it's, have you ever felt lost at home? I don't know. Somebody has, somebody hasn't. I'm sure that all of us that still look at our watch are people that have had times when we felt lost at home. I mean, the surroundings may be the same, they may be familiar to you, but there seems like there's something missing. You can name everything that is around you, and you know it all because it's familiar, yet because you got that feeling of it at home, but something's just not there. Maybe you have felt that way at church here before. Who knows? The walls and the chairs are the same as they've always been. The youth area is always over there. It always has been. And we're still in Old Town Conyers, yet there's something different. Maybe it is because the thing that we see, the things that we see that are being demonstrated in our lives are what we have imagined in our mind. The power of imagination is one of the 12 powers that can be used in a variety of ways to create a life that we want. It also can create a life that we may not want. You see, the power of imagination is one of the powers that each of us possess that represents God. The power of imagination is always in creation mode, imagining how things are, how things should be, and how we want things to be. We have the choice to use the power of imagination to create in our minds what this church is, what it once was, and what it is to become. And regardless of the facts, regardless of what we see with our eyes, whatever you imagine it is, that is what is the truth in your mind. Your perception of the situation, however factual or in error, becomes your reality as you experience it. That's a good picture. Good job, Francie. And I bet you most cats get that reflection when they look at themselves in the mirror. This is important to know, though, as we continue on our path of growing into a new, larger, more accessible building to house this church. Each of us have put our prayer power and our power of imagination into the creation of this new vision of our church. And together, we are manifesting that ideal, the perfect divine idea that is guiding us to the right and perfect expression in our imagination. But let me be clear about this. We are doing this together, but we only grow in our spiritual awareness, in our knowingness, in our spiritual acumen individually. We do not grow as a group. We grow as each individual grows in their own consciousness, in their own awareness. Our power of imagination is also important in each of our individual lives because it demonstrates to us that we are giving, or that we are going to have manifest in our life as we move forward. How we imagine our life to be and to be becomes our reality. I'm sure all of us have met people that are different, however they're different than us. Not us as a community, but us as an individual. Say they're different socioeconomic status, but they have different demeanors. For example, we have all met the person who seems to have it all, but when communicating with him or her, it is obvious that they are not happy. You remember that person that you've met? That happiness or lack thereof is caused by what they are imagining their life to be. And instead of seeing all the blessings that they have in their life, in the outer, which is obvious to those of us around them, they see all the things that are missing in their life. I can definitely attest to that when I've done it myself. At some point in life, though, each of us has probably experienced this. As we grow older, we wish that we had the physical vigor we had when we were younger. Instead of looking at the wisdom that we currently have in knowing how to do things that require that physical vigor, but we do it in different ways because of that wisdom. No matter where we are in life, each of us have plenty of blessings that the world and humanity are in need of us expressing. More importantly, of you personally expressing. You have a specific gift, a specific ability that God has only put with you. Only you can express your divine gifts. And God is not expressing fully on this earth unless each of us is expressing our individual gifts. We can help each other by joining together and lifting each other up in thought and prayer, seeing the truth of who and what we are and living from that truth. As you've experienced, I'm sure, many times in your life, as long as you are living from the truth that you know and enjoying that, being that happy spirit that everybody sees, more people are going to want to know what it is you have or what to be around you. We as a group of individuals are embarking on a new outer look for the place we worship together. And although it is true the new larger facility would be bigger and better than we currently have, the truth of the matter does not have as much to do with the outer looks or whatever it looks like, but has everything to do with what we are imagining ourselves to be. So as we continue to go forward for this move, if we don't grow individually, the outer building will be just a facade. So I have a question for you. Do you think that you are worthy of a nicer facility?
Yes.
Good. Some of you do. I need more of a critical mass than that, though. Please, God. Do you think that you are worthy of a nicer facility?
Yes.
Now, you can still love this one, okay? It's not that you don't love this one, all right? Do you think that you're worthy of a nicer facility?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you think that you deserve to have a greater demonstration of church and of Unity Church in this community?
Yes.
Will we allow ourselves to accept the truth that we can manifest what we want in our life? Let me phrase that personally, please. Will you allow yourself to accept the truth that you can manifest what you want in your life?
Yes.
Good. I even heard an absolutely. I love it. Are you willing to express God more fully in your life and thus be open to more of the blessings that God has specifically for you?
Yes.
Good. Good. I went by the, I wanted to update you, I forgot to update them. I guess I'll do that right now, with the building and everything. When we were at Unity Village, we came out of the business meeting Wednesday, the business meetings was Tuesday and Wednesday. Came out of the final business meeting Wednesday, and I had a phone call from Atlanta area, 678, isn't that what it is here?
Yes.
678, and so I thought, well, I need to get this. And it looked familiar to me because I thought I'd had it earlier on Tuesday or maybe earlier Wednesday, but I couldn't get to it because I was in meetings. And so I answered the phone, and it was, of course, a lot of commotion. Business meeting, 600 people had just let out. And I answered the phone, and this guy with a pretty upbeat voice was saying, "Is this Pastor Warren?" I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "Well, this is a pastor," and now I forgot his name already. Anyway, I won't forget his name here in a little bit. Barbara, do you remember what name I told you? Michael. Michael Lewis, yes, thank you. You might know him, I don't know. Pastor Michael Lewis, thank you, Dr. Barbara. And he said, "Well, I'm really interested. Are you the one that had the church for sale in the paper?" And I was thinking, no, I don't remember a paper ad. Right at that time, I was thinking that, but I was saying, yes, well, I'm going to have it. And so I did remember.
A little white light.
No, it wasn't a lie. I was just trying to figure out. So afterwards, I remembered that Francie did put it in the Old Town Times, so it was in there. And he said, "Well, I'm really interested in looking at that." And he said that he had his wife or somebody come by last week, but it was a time when we weren't here. And so he said, well, I told him what was happening. We were at conference, and he said, "Okay, well, so we met up at the meeting tomorrow, so we're going to get together tomorrow." So I think that why I'm telling you that story is just to let you know what's going on, and also to realize the timing of that. I mean, the timing of it being us getting done with that meeting that was important to the Unity movement, and then receiving that phone call. Now, whether it comes to fruition that he buys this place or somebody else doesn't make a difference. It's that we have chosen in our life to have that in our mind, that we're ready to let go of this building and move to the next one. And that is a wonderful testament to the consciousness of this congregation and to each individual in here.
It gives us hope.
It gives us, yes. I tell you what, it's stronger than hope even, because it's happening. It is happening. It's coming to manifestation right now. Well, Reverend Francie and I have been here 2.5 years, and we immediately knew after the first meeting that each one of you, that we have with each one of you, that you deserve the blessings that God has for you. Yet just like the person who has it all but does not realize his or her blessings, each of us has to be willing to accept the blessings and the responsibility of living a life of the deserving child of God that you are. The first week that we were at Unity Village, we were in the L&O teams, like Francie said, L&O committees. During my time in seminary, the L&O interviews were the toughest part of the whole process. The classes, I did okay, and I didn't do as heck. The first time I was in a master's program, and I was at Wichita State University, and I was really proud of my 4.0 graduate GPA. And so I came to Unity Village, the seminary, and the first class I had, the first grade I got was a big fat F. And I mean, it was big. He wrote it really big. And I was not a happy camper, to say the least. I spent 16 hours on that 20-page paper. And it was full of a lot of great things, I thought. Obviously, I was the only one that thought that. Anyway, so, all that culmination. And you have to realize where you're coming from to know what that is. I was happy because I didn't, in my undergraduate, I raised it at the end, my GPA, but the first part of my undergraduate was, in fact, I was kicked out of college, okay, at the first part of my undergraduate. But then I came back and raised it. So, but my graduate school was 4.0. So when I got that F from seminary, because it's a graduate school too, it really did not sit well with me. I went into Robert Brummett office, because he's the one that gave it to me. He's the one that writes all the books,
Not all.
or a lot of books. And I threw it on his desk. And I said, did you forget a line in this grade? Because the line down there would be an A. An F? I've never received an F. I mean, it's been many, many years since I received an F. Now, how come you gave me an F on this? And he did explain. He said, well, where's you in this? And it was true. It was all full of facts. It was a very factual paper, but had very little to do with me. And Robert Brummett, if you know him or if you read his books, he's big time into what do you think? And so, anyway, back to the L&O. So the first L&O comes around for me when I was in there. And I didn't really have a perception because I'd never been in it. But I go into the first L&O meeting, you stand in there, and they'll give you a little, one of these, exactly what they'll give you, usually. Little music stand, put your talk on. It's a short talk. It's, what is it,
7 minutes.
5 to 7 minutes.
No, 7.
Okay, 7 minutes. I don't know what it is. I don't care. Anyway, it's 7 minutes. I'll
We
give it that one.
just graded people on that.
So I give my 7-minute talk. And that seemed to be okay. Everything was cool with that. But then after that, it's about an hour of grilling. I shouldn't say that. My experience was it was an hour of grilling from the people, the ministers that were sitting there listening to your talk. And it wasn't all about the talk, it was about other things. So anyway, we had a back and forth. I thought we're talking to each other as equals, and we really weren't. Because and I should have thought of that before going in, because they held something that I wanted, and they weren't going to give it to me until I demonstrated what they wanted to see. So anyway, my L&O process was one of tension, one of adversarial relationship, if you will. It wasn't that much fun for me. So, with that background, when Francie and I joined L&O committees, the only thought that I had in mind going into those committees, on the other side, being one of those ministers, was to create an atmosphere for the candidates that they will not feel threatened in any way from me. And so that's the only thing that I had in mind. And that doesn't mean that I was going to give anybody an easy grade or anything like that, but I didn't want them to feel threatened, because it was really, in my first interview, the ministers, there was a couple of them that got up and were physically disturbed by what I was saying in the dialogue, not in the talk. So anyway, I found out, though, that it was totally different from the team I was on, and Francie expressed the same from her team members, and it seemed like when we got together as a group, it was the same, that the teams now are a lot more of what I was wanting to be there as. And so they were open to helping the candidates become the best that they could be, instead of what my perception was as far as tearing down the candidates and see how they respond. So I was extremely pleased with that. Of course, we have still differences of opinion, but when we can talk about differences of opinion and we have our own ideas, it's best to express them and be okay if you go away with, we don't agree on this, but that's okay. And I know that anybody in here that's been married should know that you're not going to agree with your spouse 100% of the time. Yes, sweetheart. I haven't told you, but we don't agree all the time. I know. So, spiritual understanding. Oh, that's beautiful. Go back to that for a second. That's where we were. That's a nighttime picture. Well,
And that's where we're going.
and that's where we're going in October. And I don't know if they'll have the fountains up anymore, but I did get you, and I was glad I did because I thought it was automatic, but it's not until you plan it. The tower that's been redone, they don't let everybody up on the observatory deck like I thought they did. So, but since I found that out then, I will be able to get us on it, go up something. But anyway, back to this. Spiritual maturity begins with a new understanding of the intertwined relationship the human body has with spirit, both inside and out. Let me read that again. Spiritual maturity begins with a new understanding of the intertwined relationship the human body has with spirit, both inside and out. And really, you can even take out the spiritual here. On the first spiritual there. Maturity begins with a new understanding of the intertwined relationship the human body has with spirit, both inside and out. Now, some of us it'll take a long, long time to remember this. Or it'll actually put us back in our memory a long time ago. But try to remember before you were on a spiritual path. I mean, I've talked to so many people about that and how they are just wandering, really. It's the person that has everything, seemingly has everything, and is unhappy. It's because those things on the outside actually mean nothing. They actually mean nothing. And so that's part of the point today, is when we move to this new, beautiful church that we have all envisioned, it means nothing unless you and I welcome and invite the new person, which we don't have any today, so that's good, coming in and say, this is what spirituality looks like. You have it already. But until we become aware of it and live from it, we'll be that person that may have everything outside, but inside we're a wreck. Maturity begins with a new understanding of the intertwined relationship the human body has with spirit, both inside and out. Next one. To live a truly full life, one must know that life does not stop with the end of this physical experience, but to understand that each idea that we become aware of is a new beginning. So, how many new ideas have you had in life? A lot. And have we looked at them as a new beginning? Well, sometimes maybe if they're grand, we recognize, that this is a great idea and we should do it. But each divine idea that comes into our mind, which are all around us at all times, when we become aware of them, offers us a new beginning. A new beginning. So no matter where you are in life, you've got a great one coming up. You're moving to California, or is it back? Because your parents are there. Back. So even though some places will look the same, they're not going to be exactly the same. Because they've changed a little bit physically, but more importantly, you've changed a lot inside. And so each of us, as we go forward in our life, have more and more knowledge, but hopefully with that knowledge has come more and more awareness of the truth of who and what we are. So today, as we go forth on this Father's Day, I want us not only to bless our fathers, but bless everyone. Because each one of us has that within us, that awareness that can just open a new avenue to life. So when you know that, you know that God is blessing you every moment of the day. And now is not an exception. Thank you.